Now, there are growing calls for those responsible for the deaths of initiates to be held accountable. Cultural activists have on numerous occasions urged government to regulate the initiation sector and to clamp down on illegal schools. In this latest incident, one initiative in the Eastern Cape was found hanging from a tree. For more on this, we're joined now by Obed Bapela, who is the Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Deputy Minister, thanks very much indeed for coming on. You and I, I'm sure, have had this discussion before insofar as the regulation of this sector is concerned. How far have we come?
Yes, indeed. Good morning to your viewers. We have met and engaged on this matter several times on various interviews. And another time when we last engaged, we were talking about the new law that is going to come into operation, because at the time the Parliament had passed it, but then we were waiting for the President to ascend it into law. Yes, last year it was indeed ascended into law, and immediately after that we established what we call the National Initiation Oversight Committee, and in the provinces we have what we call the Provincial Initiation Coordinating Councils. Now, all provinces have now since established, the 9 provinces, because the initiation has been practiced across all the 9 provinces, different groupings. And then now we have, yesterday I officiated on the election of the new National Initiation Oversight Committee, because the House of National Traditional Leaders came to an end early this year. And then there's a new committee that has been appointed into the House, so we had to re-establish. Hoping, therefore, that with the establishment of these structures, we'll be able now to engage with communities through awareness campaigns. We'll be able to engage parents and families, because it's a family matter. It's the parents that must take charge. They must know where the children are going, which schools they're taking them to, so that we could then eliminate illegal schools. But the police now have a law also on the one side, and they are part of this committee, who will then be able to charge people, sentence them, because in the past they will just arrest them, but there was no enabling legislation for them to then charge, and the people will just be charged and then be released thereafter.
So there's the new legislation, there's, as you say, the Initiation Oversight Committee and the Coordinating Council as well, and yet we've already this season alone had a number of deaths.
Definitely, as we speak now, unfortunately, we have 11 deaths now. That's the beginning of the summer season in the Eastern Cape. 11 people have already been killed, have already died, sorry. And then in winter, we also experienced some deaths earlier this year, but the earlier part of the year, obviously, the change of the house and the change of guards, I think, found us coordinating on that particular issue, and no much effort was done to implement that law. The new is fairly new, and you know that when we implement the new law, not everybody is okay with it, but I think over time and next year in particular, we'll ensure therefore that all systems go, and we'll be able to prevent as many deaths. But Eastern Cape has been the most challenging area in the country. And hoping that we'll be focusing and dealing with it.
So obviously there's the role of government in all of this, Deputy Minister, but there's also the role of parents and caregivers, right? One of the issues that has been raised is that these young men go for medical checks before they go through with initiation. I believe that one of the boys who has died in the Eastern Cape, one of the 11 boys that you just mentioned, he died as a result of being diabetic and not being, his levels apparently were too high to undergo circumcision. So in terms of what parents need to be doing here, that's one step as well.
Definitely. That's why we do the pre-medical checks before any boy can be received in any of the initiation schools. It's compulsory.
But clearly not all of the schools are doing that.
Well, if it's an illegal school, people will do wrong things in that school, because the school will not be known, and then they know that no one will then be checking on them, because they'll go into deep forest and hide from the eyes of everybody. And parents have a role to know whether that is a correct school or not a correct school. It's like when we go into education system, There are bogus schools that you get. Parents must know which school is this children going to, who is responsible, who is the caregiver there, who is the person that is going to be conducting the procedural issues on my child, and do they know our cultures, do they know traditions, are they expert and knowledgeable about this initiation or not? And that is very key and very fundamental for parents, because if the child was diabetic, we will have allowed medication on diabetes to also come in so that he can, whilst attending initiation, also be on medication.
You've talked about the Eastern Cape as being one of the provinces or the province where you're having the biggest problem insofar as regulation is concerned, right? Illegal schools, one of those issues. Some cultural activists calling them money-making schemes. So how do you go about policing that?
Well, the police now have a legislation in hand, and once they found anybody running a school that was never given any permission by a municipality or by the authorities in that particular area, by inquest or a chief in that particular area, that is an offense immediately, and they need to then know that the law enables them to charge the person, and then the persons will go through prosecution. Luckily, the police and the National Prosecuting Authority are part of this National Initiation Oversight Committees. Also, in the provinces, they also partake. Now we are together, we are one. The health elements are also there to ensure, therefore, that these pre-check medical checks do happen and everybody comply, and they go to the correct doctors, not buying certificates from somebody so that they can go to initiation. So all those things will then be brought in now to say, this is the system. Anyone who breaks it, then he breaks the law, and the law then enables us. And I think going forward, we will definitely be seeing results. But the law is new, the committees are new, and unfortunately, these deaths have occurred. And in some of the schools in the Eastern Cape, when the reports later come, you will then find that there were illegal schools, and if they are, definitely those people will have to be traced and then be arrested for running illegal schools that led to this boy being admitted in that condition he was.
Yeah, just devastating. 11 boys died already this season, Deputy Minister. What's your advice to parents who are sending their boys for initiation? Is it difficult for parents to know whether a school is legitimate or not?
It's not difficult because these schools are happening within communities where the children comes from. However, the parents, because of the family situation and setups, in some instances, an absent father or children don't even know who their father is. The father is at the behest to know which school and where. And the uncles in that family still have to play a role. Uncles, please come closer to our families. You've got your nieces, nephews that are there who are due for going to initiations. It takes a year to prepare them as a family. By the time they go to a school, it will be just this 4 weeks to 6 weeks. And therefore we are saying, can the uncles come closer? Mothers, please, you have carried this child for 9 months and gave them birth, nurtured them until they are 17 and 18. Let them not hand them over to some men we do not know, who within 2 weeks of the admission or handing them over, they die. So, and having really 17 years of nurturing by yourselves. So take care, let's all get involved and ensure therefore that we are able to really get rid of these opportunistic elements and criminals and those who are taking tradition to commercialization instead of taking tradition really to build values that are going to be helping societies to have a value system that is Ubuntu, Boto, that will also take care of communities, women, the vulnerable. Because these boys, when they come back, we expect them to be better individuals and better men from being a boy to a man. And that passage must then begin to yield results so that communities can say, we love the culture because it's also now contributing people that are going to be able to then take care of communities.
Yeah. but unfortunately so many boys having paid with their lives. Minister, just Deputy Minister, a parting shot from you this morning. I mean, given that 11 boys have already died, will you now be, in conference with the other sectors, like police, for example, police, government, traditional leaders? Is there any kind of crackdown that will be happening now until the end of the season?
Definitely, where this boy died, we'll investigate first whether it was a legal or illegal school, the circumstances of each child, how they died. And I know that in the Eastern Cape, dehydration has always been the cause, why water was not available if dehydration had occurred. And those people who are running the schools will then have to answer why they did not have all those. And in those other illegal schools, definitely is immediate arrest once we know who they are, and then the law must take its course.
Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Obed Bapela, let me thank you for your time this morning on the AM Report.